All right, a very good evening, and this is our continuing coverage. Kivumbi 2017, our flagship election program that comes to you every Monday evening. Of course, today we've been focusing on the Jubilee Manifesto launch, and on this panel tonight, we are going to be looking at that line by line to see some of the things that have been promised there. But of course, there'll also be a scorecard kind of analysis because we're going to be looking back over the last 4 years. And I have a bit of a rematch here because I have Professor Nyong'o and Amos Kimunya. The two gentlemen were here last week. We got lots of feedback, but today they will not be talking about a hypothetical thing. They'll be talking about a manifesto that was launched just a few moments ago. So welcome, gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining me. Mheshimiwa Kimunya is here in his Jubilee jacket. Some people are asking me why you were here. Maybe you can explain why you are coming to my show in a Jubilee jacket.
Well, it's just because I've just come hot from the launch. I had to be in my Jubilee class, and last time I came from a campaign rally. And so today I thought, yeah.
Okay, Mheshimiwa Nyong'o, you've been having some reactions even before this whole thing ended. What made you so unhappy about this Jubilee Manifesto that you actually had a news conference?
Well, actually, I'm not unhappy. I'm very happy.
Good.
I'm very happy about the manifesto because we are going to demolish it.
Okay.
How?
Explain that.
And why?
Explain that.
One, because, you see, I think that a government which has been in power for 5 years first has to account for itself.
Yes.
It has to account for itself, and if it's making any new promises, they must be believable. And if what they promised last time and after 5 years have not been done, very, very difficult for people to believe in them.
But they are saying they have made quite some achievements over the last 5 years.
Exactly, and I think across all sectors, within the last 4.5 years, there were several promises were made, and you know, in most of the areas, actually,
like what are the 5 big things you can say that Jubilee has
have
achieved?
gone beyond expectation.
According to you,
let's look at the classic. The people keep doubting. The laptops for standard 1 kids.
In 100 days, yes.
Yeah.
That was the other part.
In 100 days, but then we live in a country that has laws, that has people who are very excited about taking every procurement to court. So there were delays around that. And because of need to ensure there's total transparency in the process, and also building the local capacity to actually deliver, right? The process was delayed. But right now, the bottom line is we have close to 900,000 tablets in place, okay? The Kenya Power needed to wire the schools, obviously. I mean, the promise was made. The assumption was there will be power. There wasn't power, but primary schools have been wired. So there's power, there's laptops, and the kids are enjoying. And most importantly, they're actually being manufactured locally. So there's local capacity building. Look at the road networks, in terms of how much more has been done. Look at the railway networks in terms of the infrastructure. I talked about power. There are so many people who have been put on the national grid. And we could go on a whole list, but rather than go through all that, I think I would want to respond from what has not been done.
Very good. Look, you know why the laptops
Let
were
me be told
delayed?
what has not been done. What was promised has not been done.
Let me just respond to what Amos was saying. You know that story about laptops, why they were delayed? Corruption.
Yeah.
I don't think it's corruption.
No, just remember the first tender on laptops had to be done away with because it was overpriced. That was stated by the government itself.
But the overpricing is by the market.
No.
Okay? And I'm glad that it was actually stopped.
But why don't you let me finish? Because when you are talking, I listen to you very carefully, Amos.
Today we will not.
No. I think it's fair.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you're very excited. But the point is that if you remember, Joe, you can go and do your homework. Just go and do your homework. Go to Google Kenya laptops. It will give you the whole story. The tender was done. It was supposed to be.
No, of course the government cancelled it the first time.
Yeah.
But which is the only fair thing to do.
Yeah. So the point is that you can't say that the labs were not there. They were delayed so much that most schools don't have them now.
No,
not all schools have them, and those who have them out for 4 years when they were promised within 100 days.
I think
100 days and 4 years is quite a big difference. So people begin, if the kind of days you're putting here, and the delivery time, people may not believe it. But let's come to the railways. Look, let's be honest. Let's be honest. This was, we were not government together when we initiated it.
Yes.
So this is, and then the coalition government actually negotiated things with the Chinese government.
Yes.
The price, everything was agreed, the financing. Yeah. When these guys came, what did? They cut that thing, started it anew, and parted it with all kinds of kickback.
No. Nothing was started anew.
Oh, sure.
Nothing was started anew.
And then, what's interesting?
It's important to know the commercial contract was signed in 2012.
What is interesting?
Now, the two parties, the two parties going for election had the opportunity to take it within their manifesto. Now, Jubilee took the Standard Gauge Railway as a pet project because they believed that you cannot open up industrialization unless you have the transport infrastructure. But what happened is then the execution took place, and there was not variation by Jubilee at all on the pricing, right?
Well,
all that was signed up in 2012. There were two commercial contracts, one on the civil works for 200,000, 220,000, and one for the wagons, which was another 100,000, total the 330,000. There's an impression created that Jubilee inflated the cost of the railway. It didn't.
But I've had explanations given even about compensation that took more money
than was earlier compensation is another issue because that's now on the ground. We had this new constitution, we had the new National Land Commission. They're in charge of that. It's nothing to do with the government. It's an independent commission. They go and evaluate the land. They decide how much to be paid. And I think over 20 billion shilling have had to be paid for compensation. Anyway, there's the relocation of services in terms of some of the areas. But the bottom line is that the railway was promised. It has been delivered in record time, in actually less.
Professor Nyong'o is almost standing.
No, anyway,
please don't stand. The railway will even get to Kisumu in the next within the next 3 years.
Very good. It should get
vote Jubilee and they'll get it.
No problem. This thing was well planned by us. No problem.
Yeah.
But and I don't want to go into the railway thing because I handled it in my press conference. So let's leave it for that.
I don't know what you said.
When Amos watches it, he maybe react differently. But Amos,
I'll ban my TV.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I've been reading very quickly this manifesto. It's very interesting where certain places cut and paste from the NAC manifesto. For example, let me give it. Do you recognize this sentence? Transforming health services. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. Do you know who originally said that?
That's a classic.
No, but in our context. You remember who originally said that? A healthy nation, a wealthy nation.
Yes.
It was in the NAC manifesto, and it was said by Mike Kibaki.
Yes.
Pasted lock, stock, and barrel here. And if you look at these,
but it's a fact.
It's a fact. I'm not saying that.
And it's a fact. I think the only thing that's missing is attribution to Mwai Kibaki.
Yeah, to NAC manifesto, not just Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki was speaking as our leader.
but he was the.
So he's the leader. Now, when you look at our vision, let me just read it to you. In the health sector, in the transforming health services. Very interesting your vision. We will build a healthy nation and a productive workforce because the Kenyan people deserve to know they can be treated when at their most vulnerable, and because the economic status of a country is closely associated with the health of these people. First, it's bad English, using because twice. So that's another thing.
I agree with that as a prof.
That's another thing. But you see, we will build a healthy nation and a productive workforce because the Kenyan people deserve to know. They deserve to know. That they can be treated when at their most vulnerable. Yes. They deserve to know.
Yes.
They don't deserve to know. They deserve to have.
Yes.
They deserve to be treated. That article in the Constitution, 43, is very clear.
Yes.
It's a right of the people. To not just deserve to know.
To have the best high quality
Exactly. Just restate it here.
And that is exactly what Jubilee is providing.
Let me, now that you gentlemen are talking about
let's leave it there. But I was just wondering how you go around things because you want
I mean, the commitment that you're making right now as Jubilee is, the first thing is to achieve free quality primary health care for all Kenyans in the next 5 years.
Yes.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, exactly.
How?
You see, there's already so much investment that has been put in terms of, first of all, let's recognize that primary health care is a devolved function, right? But it requires, there's a policy environment and there's more resources being added onto that.
Healthcare is a devolved function, period.
Yes, healthcare is devolved.
The devolved function.
Except the referral.
It's not referral, research, policy.
But you're making a commitment here to achieve it as a national government.
To achieve it by ensuring that the devolved governments have the finances, have the staffing, have the equipment to provide that best healthcare to
So
the Kenyan
5 years
people.
from now,
But in addition,
if you got the mandate again in August,
5
years from now,
yeah.
will the Jubilee government be saying, well, we did ABCD, but county governments did this? Because what I'm driving at
because
is
we also
you're making a commitment.
We also
because Kenyans
must recognize there's a linkage between what their aspirations are, which Kenyans want top-notch quality healthcare. Jubilee government will provide that healthcare. So it's up to the Kenyans to now figure out that if they want that quality healthcare, they must not only elect the national government, but they must also populate the county government with the Jubilee governors so that they actually get the fruits.
So what is the commitment that you're actually making? That is what I want to
We're making a commitment to provide Kenyan people with top quality healthcare at par with anywhere else within the globe.
Even though it is devolved. That is what
Even within the devolved, because the policy framework, the supervision by the national government, and ensuring that Kenyan people actually get that healthcare, because they deserve it. It's their right, as Prof says, as a constitution says.
Right? If I was in Jubilee, and unfortunately I'm not, I would say the following. Since health is a devolved function, and the responsibility of the national government is to make policy, regulation, and look after referral facilities, we, the Jubilee government, will ensure that county governments are properly financed to deliver quality health care to the people according to Article 43 of the Constitution, period. Yes. Our role as policy making, regulation, and running referral facilities will provide a healthy framework for the county government to do their work. In this regard, we shall pursue the following policies. One, universal health care. In this regard, after
I was going to come to that.
After giving due regard to the fact that health is a devolved function, in this regard, we as a government are fully committed to implementing comprehensive universal health care.
Exactly.
Within this time.
That's all that within the reforms of the NHIF.
No. Those are operational. You see, hold on. A manifesto is like a constitution. It provides the broad principles for operational work by the government. Now, if you remember the NAC manifesto, we had a NAC manifesto. Then we had the Economic Recovery for Wealth and Employment. Then we had another document.
The strategy paper.
Not the strategy paper. The investment program for the economic.
And all those things will come.
So a lot of things that are here.
Prof,
let me just finish.
Apart from
so we are in agreement.
What I'm saying,
it's the wording and that we are fighting over.
No, that's what I'm driving at. Apart from the wording and all these things, what fundamental problem do you have with this promise that is being made by Jubilee to achieve free quality? There's a free bit, the quality aspect, primary health care for all Kenyans, in the context of devolution.
The Jubilee government cannot do that because that is being done by the county government.
But Jubilee government will be part of the county government. We are going to win most counties.
No. You can't.
We are committed.
And where you don't win?
Where we don't win,
you can win
don't win, we will ensure that we work with those who win, like Prof. If he wins Kisumu, which I'm wishing him all the best, that he wins Kisumu, but I'll be happy to work with, for Jubilee to work with him, because I know he's progressive. And you'll be able to see the picture that Jubilee wants to achieve free health care.
The point is, Amos, we have to respect the Constitution.
Yes.
As a national government, please confine yourself to those things the Constitution gives you. It gives you policy regulation looking at referral health facilities.
And facilitating the county government to achieve through conditional grants, through ensuring they have equipment, through ensuring they have
equipment.
The right policy framework, through the reforms within NHIF, which are national.
That's
through expanding the insurance cover for over 70s, who are the most vulnerable in society, and who are the guys seeking facilities in those places.
By the way, this is where the manifesto goes wrong. You can't enter into operational aspects of health delivery in the counties, like buying equipment. Now, if I, as a governor, I'm in charge for health in my county, up to district hospitals, up to level 5 hospitals. And you in the national government, who is very clearly in charge of policy, regulation, and reform facilities, begin buying equipment for me.
It's not buying equipment for you. There is something called economies of scale. If the country
Why?
is buying equipment for all the 47 counties,
Why?
you actually get
No, but why?
benefits or economies of
That
scale.
is not-
If every county is going shopping around for equipment, first of all, you get differences in standards, differences in terms of
That's
equipment,
not-
maintenance issues.
That is
right?
completely false because of the reason why we have referral hospitals like Kenyatta National Hospital and Moi Hospital and so on is to give them autonomy.
Yes.
They have boards which then decide, are we going to buy a linear accelerator for radiation of cancer, or are we going to buy something else? That is for them to decide.
But
It's
the
not
results-
for you to say paternalistically that you're going to buy a linear accelerator for everybody. It is the hospital which knows who they are trained. For example, if you're going to use a linear accelerator for the treatment of cancer, first of all, you must have cancer nurses, you must have medical physicists,
right.
you must have all those things.
Yes.
Why are you, as a national government, getting preoccupied with issues at the micro level?
Well, at least they've said they will establish
Yes.
a specialist cancer hospital in the country.
Exactly.
That's okay,
Yeah.
but you see,
Yeah.
but this buying equipment, it was a mistake that was done during the transition. Don't perpetuate it.
It wasn't a mistake.
It was a big mistake.
You see,
No.
the
we-
Constitution gave the Jubilee government 7 years to operationalize the Constitution and to ensure that all the devolved functions are actually passed on to the devolved government. But it was done in a record 2.5 years. Now, during those 2 years, perhaps the capacity at the local level has not been developed for the new governors to even appreciate how the procurement takes place. So it was important to then help them.
That thing
because
was,
the need.
Let me
that
repeat-
thing was done for purely entrepreneurship.
No,
and we in the
it's not-
Senate, excused you, by the way. We would have sided with the governors and told the governor not to refuse. But since it was a fait accompli, we said, well, we have caught these guys with their pants down.
in
We
the
want
better
their-
nas-
we
in the
want them
national
to put
interest.
we just wanted you to put your pants up to hide your nakedness. But otherwise, it was a complete mess. You accept it.
Okay, let's talk about an issue we were discussing here last week, which is education, free secondary education.
Before we move on from the health, I think the Linda Mama program has worked very well.
Which is Linda Mama?
The free maternity for our mothers.
Those are the things you should leave to counties, by the way.
No, but now there is
You should leave
the
them to counties.
extension
Because Oparanya is doing
of
it much
providing
better.
care for another 1 year.
No, but if you go to Kakamega, where Oparanya started it before the national government, it's doing much better. You see, I'm in the Senate Public Accounts Committee. I will tell you the counties which use good health policies. Kakamega, Kisii, Nakuru. And I don't understand why those people are not electric Bogwaba in the first place. Kakamega, Kisii, and Nakuru have the best health care.
But also they've been
delivery
facilitated
systems.
through the infrastructure.
But that is true.
Yeah.
The Constitution says these are separate
Okay,
and
gentlemen, I don't want the
government.
entire show to be about health. Let's talk about education because last week we had a conversation about free secondary education. Now, I have noticed in your manifesto that actually what you're talking about here
See, I
is
have everything here today.
free education in all public primary schools, of course that is there, and public day secondary school.
Yes.
Please explain that to me. Is
Public
this now
day
just
secondary-
What page
restricted
is
to...
that, by the way?
Yeah.
If I remember well.
Public day secondary school,
remember
basically the commitment is to
Which page
education.
is that, Joe?
Okay.
I don't know what...
Which page is that?
Now, I am...
Because what it says here...
It's the commitment is to provide free basic education up to Form 4.
It says the following.
But
in the next 5 years, because this is what it says, in the next 5 years, this is our commitment to the Kenyan people, Jubilee's commitment, to work towards achieving 100% transition from primary to secondary school by providing free education in all public primary and public day secondary schools.
That's right.
So this is just day schools,
Now,
public day schools.
The commitment is to provide free tuition. The learning aspects, not the boarding aspects. Because the boarding aspect, there is variations and people have a choice, right? Even currently, there's, the subsidy that is provided is actually provided to the day schools, right?
No, but there's a guideline that says you cannot have
The
school
guideline-
fees more than this, and it's...
But that
it's kind
will
of the same.
continue for the... You must look at parents have a choice that if you say that there's free education in all the boarding schools, all right? It's a huge commitment. First of all, you don't even have the facilities.
What I just want
because
to be-
every kid you would then
What I
want to
just
go
want
to
to
a
be
boarding school.
what I just want to be clear about is this.
But our commitment is free tuition, not living expenses in schools.
Just
Even
so
the travel
that
to
just so
school.
that my viewers are clear, I want to understand exactly what is being promised here, because there are many schools in this country. I don't know how many day schools we have, but there are many schools that are out there, public schools, right? So from school A to school B, will there be a difference? Because at the moment, the guidelines that were issued by the government where you cannot charge beyond 53,000 shillings, for example, for all public schools, secondary schools. So what exactly is going to change if Jubilee is
right now, parents are paying up to a certain amount for kids in secondary schools, in the day, secondary schools. There's a fee of, there's a subvention in terms of subsidy that's being paid by the government, I think up to about 12,000 shillings per year. And then anything over and above that, the parents pay. And that's all going to be fully financed by the government.
But even at the moment, the government basically pays for tuition in a lot of schools. They subsidize.
But parents still pay a certain portion. So from now, from January next year, there will not be a single... Once the children get into secondary school from Form 1 to Form 4, right? So long as they are within the day schools, which is basically providing...
Within the day schools.
Yes,
so you are saying that if you're in a boarding school, there's nothing here for you. Nothing is going to change.
There will be boarding fees that you have to pay, right? But for the academic bit, it will be funded.
Joe.
Yes.
Yeah. The difference between boarding and day schools is the boarding aspect.
This actually says public day secondary school. That distinction that is a bit nuanced is not here because the commitment that we can hold you to is public day secondary schools.
Because the boarding aspect of the fee is not
if I'm in a boarding school, I have no place in this promise.
No, that's a detail. That's
no. Look,
that you just
you're being unfair to Amos. They have said very clearly that our commitment is to public day school.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about boarding, so boarding is not there.
Yeah.
So there should be no clear. That's finished.
No, I want it to be clear so that people who want to ask them questions can ask.
Boarding is not there. So if you're in a boarding school, like the French say, tompi, which means bad luck. Huh? Let's come to this one. Let me just read you this thing. Yeah. This paragraph is very interesting. Work towards achieving 100% transition.
Yes.
Transition.
Yes.
And the word transition appeared earlier. Work towards achieving 100% transition from primary to secondary school
to secondary
by providing free education in all public primary and public day secondary schools.
Yes.
The next sentence. No child, irrespective of background, will drop out of school because they cannot afford school tuition fees. Do you realize there's something wrong? You have already said that you'll provide free education.
Yes.
Why do you tell us no child will send away?
It's an emphasis. It's an emphasis that as a result of providing this,
it's not necessary.
It's not
necessary.
You know,
because you know why it's not necessary.
For you and I.
No, let me tell you.
For you and I, you understand everything.
No, let me tell you why it's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's not necessary because, although to you it is necessary, it's necessary to you because of the word transition.
Yes.
Jubilee is very clever. They are telling you that what they are committed to is subject to a transition.
No.
How long that transition will take, nobody knows. Therefore, they add another sentence. In the meantime, we are promising you that no child, irrespective of background, will drop out of school because they cannot afford school tuition fees. In other words, while they are in power, if it is reported to them that a child has dropped out of school because of fees, they will run very fast to deal with that child.
Yes.
It's not a guarantee that they will support every child that dropped out of school, but at least the promise is there.
I think...
And the promise may not be fulfilled during the transition. Remember, it's a transition. It will not be... on the first day...
I think, Prof, we are talking of different transitions.
It will not be like we did in... No, let me just finish.
We are talking different transitions.
Hold on.
Let me just be clear.
No, let me just finish.
We are talking of the transition rates from primary to secondary.
Okay.
To achieve at 100%. So that every kid who goes from standard 1 eventually completes up to Form 4, because the hindrance right now is that they finish standard 8, and because they cannot afford to pay for Form 1, then they drop out.
So explain
to
me...
we are not talking about transitional government
so explain to me...
We are actually talking of transiting from primary to secondary.
Explain to me the free aspect.
Every child who gets to primary school goes through free primary, free exam fees. Exam fees have been waived, so they have no hindrance at the point of exam. And once they have passed the exam or at whatever point, they then transit into Form 1 because there's no fee. What we want is every kid to actually finish school, basic education, at Form 4. And remember, this is only based on the current curriculum. There's more reforms taking place within the education sector
in
terms of curriculum development.
Is this subsidized? Let's get the
It's free.
terminology right.
Okay, look.
It's free.
Amos.
Who pays? I mean, we
it's
pay.
a government. It's
pay
free.
at-
It's
we
free
pay-
to
we
the.
pay at the end of
It's
the
free
day.
to the parent. It's free to the child, because at this point the focus is on the Kenyan child. The Kenyan child must be entitled to free, quality education. Not just free education, but quality education.
But we should be clear that it is day school, right? I just want that to be very clear.
The cost of the tuition, right? In day and even in the boarding schools, that's taken care of. So parents will have a choice. I want my child in a boarding school. That's a parental choice, right?
Boarding costs, even if you're in a
top-up.
public school, boarding costs, that's your problem.
The boarding costs, that's a parental choice.
Look,
but
Joe,
the
A
tuition,
parental, it's not a choice. I mean,
It's
if
a
you are
choice.
called to a boarding, how many quality day schools are there in this country
they are
anyway?
there.
Even if
they are there.
how many of them are there that you can say, well, we've done an exam and 90% of the kids went to
I think there are
day
things.
school?
There are things. Let's first of all take it like there must be equity, right, across Kenya. If one child is admitted to a day school and another one to us, why would you want to use all your sources?
Joe.
Yeah. On one who chooses to go to boarding, right?
Joe,
it's the same thing. Like, if somebody decides to go to the private wing of Kenyatta, right? Do you want to undertake that cost, or you're providing cost?
Do people
at the
really
very
in this
basic
country
level?
choose to go to boarding rather than day school? Is that a choice that is available? There are many schools that are
Given-
good schools in this country,
if cost
but
was not a factor-
they don't have a day
If cost
component.
was not a factor, every
don't have
child
a-
would like to go to the top,
Joe.
best public boarding school.
Which will still be inaccessible because
But-
boarding
but what do you
boarding
want?
fees will still be
What
paid
do you
by the
want?
parents.
All
isn't
the
it?
schools, at least, luckily, schools, education is a national government issue, all right? You can't leave it to the governors, okay? It's very important. So, at the national level, make sure the facilities are there. So much money already for hiring of teachers, right? Training of teachers, infrastructure development, and all that money, part of it is already being factored within these budgets. And that's why we are saying we can't start our educational program in September like Prof. Yeah, we want to do it in January, so because there are some things that you need to put in place.
Okay. I understand
Yeah,
exactly.
and even getting the data in terms of how many people will be transiting and all that, that will all be done between now and the end of the year. And there'll be now funding for all those schools so that every Kenyan child who goes through school knows that
No,
fees is not the hindrance to my getting
I must
next level.
I must belabor this because the parents sitting at home watching us really have to understand.
Can I
this
say
clearly.
something, Joe?
Yeah.
Because you people are seen to driving a monologue. You know,
No, it's not a monologue.
It's
It's
a
very
monologue.
important.
I
that
just
we
want the
understand.
parents
Yeah,
to be
because-
very clear about what's
Can
been
I come
promised
in?
here.
Because-
someone
but-
might say later, no, we didn't
No,
promise
no.
that.
Can I come in? Because I think I may make this thing much simpler.
Yeah.
You know, Amos, you're making commitment to the people of Kenya.
Yes.
Ahadi ni deni.
Then.
A commitment should be as simple as straightforward as possible.
Yeah.
We will say we shall provide Kenyan students with free basic education from Form 1 to 4. Period. Like we did in NAC.
Yeah.
We said we are going to provide free primary school education.
Yeah.
Uhuru doubted it, but we did it right on the first day.
Yeah.
When the problems arise, you solve them. Like when people were streaming into schools and schools were getting congested, we did solve that. Now, here you should be very, you had earlier said, I remember in your rallies and so on, you said you are going to provide free education from primary to secondary. Simple, on TV.
Yeah.
So what you need to say here, forget about all the transitions and so on, those are details.
No.
But say we shall provide free basic education from standard 1 to standard 4, period.
But it's also with the objective of achieving 100% transition rate.
Those are operational issues, Bwana.
No, that's
because you're making a commitment.
That is an aspiration.
Wananchi don't
That's
want
aspirational.
to know. Wananchi don't want to know transition and all those things. Wananchi want to know that when their kids pass, they will go to school free.
Oh, so
and
we are agreeing
secondly,
on the
because
modalities.
hidden here, this promise which is convoluted, you will turn around and you will tell Wananchi, oh, you are not getting the thing free. But we say there was a transition.
No.
And the man will say transition in Nini.
No. We are not saying subject to transition.
No, let me tell you something. You see, another thing is, look, if you are going to start saying, in boarding schools we shall give you tuition.
Yes.
And not boarding fees.
Yes.
Say so. Say in boarding schools we shall give tuition and we shall not cover boarding. Now that raises a big problem for our parents. This is what Nyong'o is saying, that when children sit exams in standard 7 and you score a high score and you have an A, and the people there posting you to schools, they post you at Alliance High School, or they post you to Lenana.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
But
and
what,
apparently suddenly find a school, fees agenda.
And the child is vulnerable.
The child is vulnerable.
Comes from a vulnerable family.
Exactly.
But that's why we are also putting so much money into the CDF for the bursaries.
No,
There's the bursaries
but now you are outsourcing your responsibility to CDF.
No, it's not just that.
Don't
Even
qualify these things.
No.
Just tell us, like we did when we did primary school.
Yeah.
We didn't say that, oh, if there are too many students in the school and you want to build another classroom, CDF will do it.
No, basically I want to say there's resources across different fronts to ensure that the infrastructure is there. And the commitment is that there is not a single Kenyan child who goes through school, passes the exam, gets admitted in school, will not get a hindrance that they cannot go on with education on account of fees.
So you're
Right?
saying that
That's the commitment.
so if we have all these students called to Alliance, Lenana,
No,
and all,
Alliance can only take so many.
and all this
right?
on all these schools. No, I mean there are very many schools like that in many
Yes.
counties now.
Yeah.
Probably not at the level of Alliance,
Yes.
but schools that a lot of children get called to.
The tuition
that don't
component
that
will be
don't
paid
have a
for.
day component.
In which case we should tell Alliance today.
Yeah.
If you have 6 streams, make them 12.
Why?
So that because tuition is paid by the government.
Yes.
So we'll tell parents you only look after boarding.
Which will be fine.
Is that right?
If Alliance
we hold
can
you
take
to that.
If Alliance can take the
No. Do we
all
hold
right,
you
all
to
right,
that?
all right,
Yes.
all right.
Okay,
Okay,
That's the
okay,
commitment.
okay,
2
gentlemen.
years after,
But the boarding
fortunately,
component,
you are not going to be in power.
but the boarding
So-
commitment, the boarding costs will have to be borne by.
Unfortunately, we are not going to be in power.
Let's talk about.
Let's move on to something else.
let's
As
NASA-
education, we are happy.
Let's talk about.
No, we are not happy because of
Why
this
not?
convolution. Fortunately, we are not going to be there. NASA will do it. So
No,
that's
no,
not the
no.
problem.
NASA can't.
Okay, let's
NASA
talk
can't.
about.
They've never kept a promise.
Okay. That's
And
why we have.
people are
That's why we
leaving
have an
NASA.
election on 8 August.
The
I think
people-
Yes.
the
the people-
voters will settle
and I
this
hope the
much.
Kenyan
Okay,
people are
okay,
listening.
The
gentlemen.
people who are in NASA and
All
the people who are
right.
in NAC and the people
No, Prof, you are here.
The people
And
who
you'll
wrote the
be-
Constitution. Let me tell you.
Okay, the two of
that
you
you had two
are
leaders
very
opposed the
rowdy
Constitution,
right now.
opposed devolution.
No,
They did.
they did not.
They did propose the Constitution and devolution.
Okay, let's
Ruto
talk
was
about
heading what?
let's talk
And
about
Elijah
something
Kruto.
else, gentlemen.
Didn't he lead
Let's-
the revolution on opposing
Let's
the
talk
Constitution?
about
But we're
let's talk
talking about
let's
the
talk about
president, the vice
corruption.
And the VP
Let's
now
talk
they
about
fear watermelon in
let's
the
talk about
We are talking
corruption
about the
now.
deputy president and the president,
Professor
the two most
Nyong'o.
important people
Professor Nyong'o.
in what's the party called?
And did
in Jubilee.
Did the
Professor
PM go
Nyong'o.
campaigning for the
Okay,
Constitution?
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I think that I should have sat between the two of you.
Yeah, okay.
No, this is
Let's
good.
talk about what is titled here, Mheshimiwa Kimunya, good governance, justice, and the fight against corruption.
Yeah, exactly.
And
very good.
you list some of your achievements as digitized most public service
Yes.
delivery systems to make them more efficient and
Yes.
accessible to the public,
Yeah.
constituted a multi-agency anti-corruption team, and then you're saying it resulted in an unprecedented number of 360 cases now being before the courts.
Yeah.
And one of the things I found one very interesting, one of the achievements is transformed, updated, and invested in the judiciary. I would want to hear more about that. But all of these things sound to me like very difficult to hold, because I remember that in 2013, under the 3 pillars, one of them was called Uwazi. And one of the promises I remember so vividly was you had promised to give the ESCC more teeth by giving them prosecutorial powers. I don't see any reference to the fight against corruption. Is it now a recognition that there's nothing much that the national government can do about corruption?
No, I don't think it's...
Because they're toned down promises, if I see what...
It's not a toned down promise. First of all, we have a constitution. The constitution has defined the role of the DPP. It's in the constitution. It's in charge of all public prosecutions, right? And every other person can only refer matters to the DPP for prosecution, and for good reason, so that at least you have one...
But we had the same constitution architecture in 2013 when there was that promise to give prosecutorial powers to
I
the
think
ESCC.
the hope was that, you know, there will be options for providing that prosecutorial powers. But it's not possible. Okay?
It is possible.
It's
very
possible with
Very
a constitutional overhaul.
No, no, not overhaul. You don't need to overhaul the constitution.
No, you need to change the constitution to
you
move
don't
that
need
power.
to. No, you
but
don't need to. You don't
giving
need
the power to the EACC does not necessarily guarantee that there will be convictions. Yeah, convictions are based on evidence. But we must also look at should Kenyans be striving to get jails full of people, or stopping the horses from bolting in the first place, right? If you ask me, I'll go for, first of all, let's put the infrastructure and the systems in place to ensure that not a single coin disappears in the first place. So you don't have to chase thieves, safeguard everything. And I think that's a commitment, first of all, in terms of the transparency in government service delivery, in terms of the transparency in the procurement, that you don't lose anything in the first place and then have to pay so much money to the EACCs and all that and prosecutors of this world to go chasing people who have looted, right? Invest in the systems. And I think that's a commitment that we are going to have that.
I'll come to you, Professor Nyong'o, in a moment.
And let me also add something, just to add,
Yeah.
in terms of what makes Kenyans feel the impact of corruption, is being asked to pay for bribes for services they should be getting as a matter of right, okay? Mm-hmm. And if you look at the investment that has taken place within the Huduma centers, right, that Kenyans can go and get an ID without having to bribe a chief. Kenyans can go and get their driving licenses and renew the trade licenses without having to go and pay the other county governments. That is how to transform the lives of the Kenyan people, right? It's not chasing the guy who took a bribe.
Some people would say, Mheshimiwa Kimunya, that during the anti-corruption conference that happened at State House, the president famously asked the question that many Kenyans still talk about, nifanye nini jameni? It was almost saying, well, there's nothing else for me, there's nothing for me to do as president, and so for there to be all these promises and the achievements that the government says it has, how does that square with what seemed to be an admission by the president that with all the offices you referred to, the DPP, the EACC, the judiciary, and all these people all being independent, that perhaps there's no role, there's no promise that you can make.
The context in which the president was talking was saying, we have provided finances, we have provided the legislation, we provided the frameworks for everything that we, as an executive, they are supposed to do has been done. Now, if these guys are not doing the job, what more Kenyans want the president to do?
Because I can,
Now, within this manifesto, we are saying there are things the government can do. Like I said, first of all, to reduce the pain that Kenyans go through at the roadblocks in terms of when getting services, make those services more transparent. Expand. We have seen the success of the Huduma centers, right? It's a best practice. Roll it out. Expand it.
Okay, Professor Nyong'o, you seemed very excited about this corruption subject. What would you have done differently? I mean, many people say that we haven't seen any evidence from the opposition that this indignation with corruption does not go far enough because it is within the counties, for example, that are controlled by your parties that you have seen very many ridiculous things. And we haven't seen pressure coming from, for example, ODM saying, hey, you misused the public money. There were cases in Kisii, for example, that were being investigated. We haven't seen the indignation going down there where you will say, why don't you step aside, let investigations continue?
Okay, we have done that. Why do you think I'm going to be governor of Kisumu?
Where have you done it?
Just hold on. Why do you think I'm going to be governor of Kisumu? Because I believe that fighting corruption is first of all about values and good leadership.
Yes.
Now, what Jubilee has done here about our achievements is talk about the technocracy of fighting corruption. Instruments, offices, buildings, whatnot.
That's good to date.
That's it.
To date.
But that means that you can't chew gum and walk at the same time. You can put the technocracy and concern about values and leadership. But if the president, the deputy president, and the first people to commit travesties about values in corruption, we are going nowhere. Then, this is technocracy. You come to commitment. Hold on, Bwana, let me tell you.
No, because you made a point that is worthy of being followed up. What's good for the goose, good for the gander. I mean, you're saying that the president and his deputy should lead from the top, and that is very well. But then, in your own side of the political formations that we have here,
there been any leadership?
Has there been the real statement made that we we have today censured
look,
a certain governor
look,
because they were found to have misappropriated funds.
Let me tell you what. Our own party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, has constantly been fighting against corruption ever since Jubilee came into power. Every time he points out something that has gone wrong, they deny it, finally they accept it. The government is there to implement the policies of the day. The government is there to make sure that society is transformed. You understand? It has the instruments of power to transform society. Yes. It has the instruments of power to institutionalize the values. This is the responsibility of government. The responsibility of the opposition, first of all, the party leader himself. He would not have the power to go and remove a governor in Kumkisi.
No, but
you would have power.
Least,
just
but
let me finish.
As a party, you can de-whip your own governor.
Let me
we haven't seen any.
I mean,
at
and
least
we saw so much. We saw so much noise about corruption, until the issue that came up in Kilifi, until it came up in Kisi, until it came up, until
you know,
the performing governor has refused to, Oparanya has refused to appear before Senate, and there's no action being taken.
No, the only unfair thing is that when you were having that monologue with Joage, I allowed you to go until you finished. When I start to respond to questions, you appear and Joe seems to be sitting there enjoying your interference. But that doesn't give me opportunity to respond fully. So I don't know what the game is. Anyway, let me come to
There's no game. You
but I have to expose you.
You didn't possibly say that. But anyway,
you too.
Explain.
Now, you know I'm the chairman of Public Accounts Committee and Investments.
In Senate.
In the Senate.
Yes.
And I'm also a former 10-year Secretary General of the ODM.
And why are you not forcing Oparanya to appear before Senate?
But because
he has refused.
He has refused
to appear before Senate. And he's your member.
I'm not the Inspector General.
Play by example.
But let me finish, Bwana.
I'm
not the Inspector General of Police. You will know that I actually delivered a letter to Inspector General of Police, the IG, requiring him to arrest Oparanya and bring him before us.
Yes.
The IG didn't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. Now, who am I, Chairman of Public Accounts and Investment Committee, to do that? The IG doesn't do it. It doesn't come back to me. We are left as lame ducks. Our committee brought all these agencies before us, all of them concerned about fighting corruption. We have met them 3 times. We have emphasized, ladies and gentlemen, as a committee, we can bring before you what to do, but we cannot force you to do it. It's like you can take a cow to the river, you can force also to drink water. So your own government, which is in charge of these fellows, they see us doing this, they see those things in the papers, you don't do a thing because you condone this. So it is you who are sitting on the Senate, not letting the Senate do these things. And you know it.
Which would be easier?
You know it.
Which would be easier to get an ODM governor arrested and dragged into the Senate to face an ODM chairman of the PAC, or for the party leader of ODM to actually go and say, you are my member, you're embarrassing me, go and appear before and cleanse yourself.
Who tells you that? What tells
so why are we going around using the police when it can be done directly? There's no commitment to fight corruption.
No, hold on.
And corruption appears only to be corruption when it is on the other side.
No. Right? This is what they're saying all the time. Another time they're excusing themselves for not exercising power they have been given. They have been given power to exercise it. They're not doing it. Instead of outsourcing their responsibility to the opposition. That is clear. Even here, when you look at their commitment is not to values and leadership. Their commitment is technocracy. But look at them. But you are not committed to any value or change in leadership. And that is why we are taking you out, not to be there because you are letting Kenyans down.
All right.
The whole issue of commitment to the values, inculcating a culture of national values, starts with the education system. Immediately you start getting kids from primary that they cannot cheat in their exam and all that, you start getting a culture of integrity. Rwanda has done a very good job on that.
But Kagame is a man of integrity. But are you 2 people men of women of integrity?
Of course.
No, it's Kagame who gave the leadership.
No, of course.
It didn't start.
I'm saying
it didn't start from heaven.
But it started from the education system. And you look at the case of Rwanda, their success story in
all right, Mheshimiwa Kimunya, we're about to end this show.
Don't end it.
You won't believe it. But then let's talk about something else which struck me. And this is, I've heard the president speak about this a lot and his deputy about uniting Kenya. And you seem to believe that this country is more united than it was before.
It really is.
And one of the things, and there are many, many things that you've listed here, but I saw one that just struck me, and it said that one of the achievements of the Jubilee administration over the last 4 years is that it closed what is referred to as a painful chapter in our history.
I saw that one
through
too.
the president's apology to the country for historical injustices and the resettlement of IDPs. I'll talk about the IDPs in a minute.
Yeah.
But do you truly believe that the president's
Closed a painful chapter?
apology
Yeah.
actually closed this chapter?
Yes,
In fact, Joe, I put a star against it.
I
Maybe
know.
we
I
were
know.
reading the same thing.
But what was the recommendation? What is the all nations that have had a historical past? Whether you look at the Aboriginal issues in Australia, right? How was it closed? It's through the Prime Minister of Australia going to Parliament and saying, we apologize for the atrocities that have been committed
We are not Aborigines,
about
by
the
the way.
Aborigines.
We are not Aborigines.
It's all those sorry issues, yeah? Those, the Japanese have, for example, refused to, no, the Americans have refused to apologize to the Japanese. Japanese have apologized to their neighbors in terms of what happened before the war. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta took it upon himself to publicly be the first president to recognize those atrocities and offer the official apology for whatever happened, right? Now, healing starts from people recognizing that you recognize, yes, it happened. It was before our time, I mean. All those things happened before. He wasn't the president,
I think
but he took
the question here was that it seemed to be such a definitive achievement that you've talked about, that because the president apologized,
it takes a gentleman.
That chapter is closed. I think that is where the contention is.
It's not just because the president apologized that the chapter is closed. Parliament still has some job in terms of that TGRC report, right? And that has not happened.
No, I'm just reading. I'm just reading the manifesto, which says our achievement that is listed.
That's a major achievement.
That the achievement was that the government under Jubilee closed a painful chapter in our history. Through the president's
public apology.
Through the president's apology to the country.
It's not a simple thing as just saying I'm sorry. It's like this is an apology.
Do you believe
by
that
the
chapter is
president
closed?
on behalf of the government? Remember, government is a continuum, all right? The first government, the second government, the third government. That in behalf of all the governments that are in place, I take this opportunity to say I'm sorry.
Can I
what
know
happened.
what I say?
But that does not say that the other recommendation that within the TRGC disappeared because of the apology. The report is still in Parliament.
Okay, let Professor Nyong'o say, because by the way, I have got a request from many of my sources that because tomorrow the shoe will be on the other side, that I will make an invitation today that we will have a rematch again tomorrow.
In fact, I was going to suggest it.
Because they are launching their manifesto tomorrow.
The copy of this. In fact, I brought a copy.
And please make sure you bring a copy for Mheshimiwa.
He's going to give me a copy right now.
In fact,
you could give it to me.
And
historically, it's already autographed.
So
I'll give you ours tomorrow.
And so that, first of all, is an original copy.
Yeah. So the two of you stand invited, which is why I'll end this show. I'll end the show shortly. But Professor Nyong'o.
First of all, Joe, I am surprised that in this section called Building a United Cohesive Nation, there is no mention about the TGRC, the Transition, the Justice and Transitions Commission. Now, to say that you have closed a painful chapter just by an apology, which lasted a few minutes by the president, is to provide a very simple answer to a very complex question.
But
let me finish. Okay. Is to provide a very simple answer to a very complex question. Remember that TGRC was a long process.
Yeah, truth, justice, and reconciliation.
And by the way, rather than go to Australia, Aborigines, and so on, go to South Africa, next door, where there was a TGRC.
And there was an apology.
And borrow. No. First of all, the TGRC, before you apologize, let the TGRC be implemented. We have been crying for you people to let the TGRC be implemented. Let people come, not just the president. In South Africa, families were apologizing to families, ministers were apologizing to people, police officers. It was a major time for people to be reborn. We were not reborn when the president went and did what. In fact, I've even forgotten what he said because it was not time shaking. It was not earth shaking. It was not a major event in the history of this country.
Yeah.
It was one of those shows, one of those PR exercises by the president, and they should understand it as such. Don't pull wool over our eyes, my brother. This is an important...
Don't get emotional.
No, I'm not getting emotional. I'm just trying to tell you how important it
because the most
is.
important
Okay,
thing.
so that
But
you,
also,
so that you could.
And then when you come
just
to
give me
our
a moment.
commitment,
No, I'll
please
come
commit
back for.
yourself
I'll come
to
back for the closing
TJRC.
remarks. Okay, I'll come back for the closing remarks so that you cool your emotions here.
He's getting too emotional with the TJRC.
I want to go to my colleagues Zinzi
Because I
Kibiko
fought for it for so long.
Hassan. Professor Nyong'o, you are heckling now. Let's go to Hassan Juma and Zinzi Kibiko, who have been following what people are saying online. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether it is as heated out there as it is right here in studio.
Metifua kivumbi kweli au wanasiasa wawili.
Joe, that was a fantastic conversation over there. We're going to take a look at some of the feedback that we've been receiving on the show. Kivumbi 2017, hashtag Kivumbi 2017 is one that has been trending mostly. Some of these are the ones that we have. So let's begin with Stefan's tweet, Hassan.
Na pengine hii nimemwelekezea Mheshimiwa Amos Kimunya. Are the stadiums being rushed now world class as Jubilee promised in 2013?
All right.
Mwana sporty. Are they being completed like the Sigiri Bridge?
Okay.
Ni wasia uama ni kauli ya Stephen Moreri.
So there's one question over there. Okay, so also Agri says if this was not done in 4 years, surely how can it be done in 5 months? This is the biggest lie of the year. So this is just some of the feedback that we are also getting. Take a look at which one. This one right here. Okay, so there's a question. Ask Amos this. Where are the laptops of Obura Primary School? Why do you give laptops while children are sitting on the earth? Okay, so a few of the questions also in regards to the conversation right there with our managing editor, Joe Ageo. Also the same question of WAPI laptops has also been coming out profoundly on this, okay? Let's see what else we have. Very quickly, Hassan, I think we should also remind our audiences exactly our Twitter poll question, because these are the final results. 383 of you voted, and today we were asking, Hassan?
Je, vijana wanatumikaje katika siasa? Je, vijana wanatumikaje katika siasa? Na mwisho basi asilimia, manake baada ya kura, hizi ndi kura za maoni, asilimia 6 wanasema asilimia 6 wanasema kubuni sera, coming up with policies na kusaidia zinzi, manake Kiswahili ndio kilienda mvange. Asilimia 15 kuleta mabadiliko, to bring
change, of course.
Asilimia 49 kuzua ghasia.
Okay, and the last one?
And the last one, asilimia 30 kusisimua campaign.
All right, so also, as you can see here, Hassan, we're still getting a lot of the feedback. 21 notifications over there. Let's just take a look at some of them. A lot as in regards to this. Okay, so here, Jeremy says, true lies except to rush for the elections in 2017. Of course, this is in regards to also the manifestos that we've been seeing across the whole show. And today, Jubilee will launch their manifesto. Tomorrow, we're expecting NASA to do the same. So the conversation has to keep on going. Also on social media, very quickly, we just want to remind you, as much as Kivumbi 2017 is also trending, one of the biggest hashtags was also a lot in regards to do, here we go, the Jubilee Manifesto. Also, earlier on in the day, if you were keeping an eye on what was also happening online, we saw Jubilee Manifesto lies also trending. I've also seen another one called NASA Manifesto Copycats, way hours before even NASA even launches their own. So you can tell a lot of people, exactly, people are already looking at this, okay? So those are just some of the feedback that we've been getting for this episode of Kivumbi 2017.
Joe, viwanja, watu wanauliza bwana, tuliahidiwa viwanja mwaka 2013, miaka kama 5 baadaye tumeahidiwa tena viwanja. Sijui bwana Amos Kimunya ana yapi ya kusema?
Stadiums na laptops.
Stadiums na laptops.
Hi, Abasi. Shukran, Hassan Juma, Zinzi Kibiko. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Gentleman and lady. I almost forgot Zinzi, and yeah, I always said this is time for her to go to bed. Have a good night. All right, so let's finish what we have been saying here. And what struck me there, actually, the question that we were asking about young people and their involvement in politics was because a lot of all these manifestos, and we didn't even get time to talk about young people and the 1.3 million jobs and everything. But what sticks out there is that many people seem to believe that young people are more involved in causing the chaos that we see in the rallies and everything, and to sort of charge things up before the rallies begin. But only 6% of the people at least that took part in that unscientific poll think that the young people are involved in creating the policies and even developing the manifestos.
Yes.
That, I found that
staggering. And I think the 49%, we know where they belong. To Prof.
No. I mean, we saw that in Blue Post the other day. The president had to just bypass the place. It happens everywhere, Mashima.
No, what I'm saying,
with respect, isn't it?
I know. I'm on my name. But
all right, close it.
I know there's a big issue with the youth.
Yeah.
And unless we empower our youth, and I think that's what the Jubilee Manifesto has had taken through the training, through the cyber jobs, through all those things, and creating more work for them, they will continue being misused by politicians.
All right, gentlemen, so, we need to bring this to a close. Professor Nyong'o, final thoughts?
Just to remind...
What can we expect tomorrow?
Tomorrow, a great manifesto.
A copy.
Yeah?
No, a great manifesto, very far from that, much more committed to values than technocracy and things like those, because those are operational issues that a government has to do anyway. We are not going to implement your values unless you have a working government. So a manifesto should be like a constitution, I say. If it becomes an operational document, then it is not a manifesto.
But we already have a constitution.
So, no, I said like. Please understand my English.
With the national values.
All right.
Chapter 6.
This conversation will continue tomorrow. I have to bring this show. I have to bring this show to a close.
A document of values.
I'll give you this studio for the next 1 hour to discuss off air. Gentlemen, we have to finish this.
This is an operational manual.
Professor Nyong'o. Order. All right. Thank you very much for watching Kivumbi 2017. Remember, tomorrow we have a special edition of Kivumbi 2017 starting same time at 6 p.m. And the big focus will be the NASA manifesto that is due to be launched around about the same time as they did the Jubilee one today. And so we will hope that you'll be there tomorrow. And yes, at 10 o'clock, we will have a rematch. I should call it the second rematch between Professor Nyong'o and Amos Kimunya. And they'll be talking this time around about the NASA manifesto. Professor Nyong'o says it will be different. We can only wait and see. My name is Joe Agayo. Do have a lovely evening.